this is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and another year, another fabulous phablet from Samsung. This is the Samsung Galaxy Note 3, obviously the third generation Note phone. Different look though, still as ever about the same size. It fits in my hand, I don't know about you, but it's on the large side, but no more glossy backs. Now we have this kind of look instead, a little bit classier. Full HD display, quad-core CPU, very fast, and it can record 4K video. Who could ask for more? So here it is, the parade of Samsung Galaxy products. We have the Galaxy Note 8 here. We have the new Samsung Galaxy Note 3 smartphone, or phablet if you will, and the Samsung Galaxy S4, just so you can see the difference right here. Now, obviously, even though some of you are going to be buying a phablet so it can do double duty with something like this 8-inch tablet here, most of you are probably considering buying a phone. That's why you're watching a smartphone review. And if you want to see the difference in size between the Galaxy S4 and the Note, well, there you go. Not so different from previous Notes. In fact, this is about the exact same size, but Samsung managed to make the display even larger by bringing out more edge-to-edge, which is, well, shall we say, the rage now with smartphones. The Samsung Galaxy Note 3 will be available on all major U.S. carriers starting tomorrow. And we have the AT&T version here. Generally speaking, it's going to cost $299 on contract, $350 if you're with Sprint. And of course, T-Mobile doesn't do contracts anymore, so you're looking at monthly payment plans, or you can buy it outright for full retail. And most carriers, it's going to cost you $725 to $750. So clearly, on full retail, this is not a cheap phone at all. This is the same price as the HP Split X2 convertible Windows 8 tablet and laptop combo that we just reviewed. So it's interesting, isn't it, how phones can cost just as much as laptops these days. The usual attractive design. I know we all pick on Samsung for using plastics, but I think they do a good job of making this look fairly nice. It might not be, beautiful metal, but we do have the faux metal ring here and something different on the back, which is pretty cool. Now, some people have made fun of this. I think it's nice. This is a faux leather back. It's not real leather, folks. This is actually plastic. It's amazing what you can do with injection molded plastic and polycarbonate. Looks like leather, feels... I don't know, I wouldn't say it feels like leather, but it's grippy. It's nice. It's a great improvement over the super glossy backs that Samsung used to use on the older Notes and still uses on the Galaxy S4 smartphone. There's a little faux leather stitching here. It's available in your choice of black or white. And this wouldn't be a Samsung phone if the back wasn't removable. There's a little point right here. You grab it, you yank it. Still very thin plastic, so that is what it is. It does allow the phone to be light. Despite its size, it's only 5.9 ounces. And here we have 3,200 milliamp battery. That's 100 milliamps more than the outgoing Note 2. Micro SIM card slot, and stacked on top of it is a micro SD card slot that's compatible with SD-XC high-capacity cards. Combine that with the 32 gigs of internal storage, and you can carry around quite a lot of movies, music, whatever it is that you like to carry around. Controls are the same place that they are on all the other Galaxy phones, and on the Note, this is our volume rocker right over here. Opposite side, we have the power button. Headphone jack is up top. Microphones are top and bottom. Down here, we have a USB 3.0 port. That's different. Usually, we have a standard micro USB 2.0 port, and don't worry, it's a divided style connector, so you can still plug in USB 2.0 cables and peripherals there if you need to, but it does come with the USB 3.0 cable with that wide connector in the box. Our wonderful S Pen is right here, pops out from the bottom right corner, which will make you right-handed people happy. As ever, it can launch applications when you do that, or bring up the Air Command window so you can choose from a couple of quick features, and that's our speaker down here. Physical home button that goes clicky-clicky and moves, and our capacitive buttons that are extremely hard to see unless you actually tap on them, and then you can. The backlighting will come on. As ever, these are very close to the edge, so if you're handling the phone when it's turned on, you're holding it near the bottom, it's very easy to accidentally start doing things. Up front, we have a 2-megapixel camera, not unlike the same cameras that we've seen in other recent Galaxy models. And the finish here underneath the glass is very nice. It has almost like a kind of textured fish scale kind of look, which doesn't sound attractive, but it's nice. It gives it a little bit of visual interest. So, not a bad looking phone, a little bit more squared off, almost going back to the original Note design, getting rid of the very, very rounded off edges that we see on the Note 2. One of the big improvements is we finally have a full HD display. The Note 2 did not have that. 1920 by 1080. This is still a Super AMOLED display, so it has a 10-tile matrix, but gotta give it to Samsung. They keep evolving that and improving it, and the colors are fairly tolerable and natural. As ever with Samsung phones, you can choose between a bunch of different color settings, and we'll go to our full settings right here so you can see that. Notice we have the multi-tab settings and Samsung TouchWiz, which makes everything very large. This is actually set to small font right now, and things are still very, very big, even on a 1080p device. Kind of surprised there. And if we tap on screen mode, you can see adaptive display is turned on. If we turn that off, adaptive display looks at whatever you're doing. If you're reading, it's not going to crank up the colors. If you're watching a movie, it's going to bring up the colors. While we're talking about the display, one thing I'd like to mention is Super AMOLED displays have a lot of good qualities. Deep blacks, really vivid colors, but one thing they haven't had is extreme brightness, which means it's been hard to see a lot of Samsung Galaxy smartphones outdoors in bright sunlight. This is the brightest Galaxy product yet, and you can actually see it outdoors, even in our bright outdoor Texas sun. I still wouldn't say it has a better display than the lovely HTC One, which has a 4.7-inch display, obviously not in the same size category, but that IPS display still wins for clarity, I think, and naturalness of colors, but this really is a good step up from Samsung. The other big news is this is updated CPU and RAM. As ever, that's what happens with the new generation of smartphones. So we have 3 gigs of RAM in here. In a world where 2 gigs of RAM is a high-end Android phone, we have 3 gigs. And believe me, with all the software on here, you need it. The software has software. There's so much software. You know how Samsung loves to, well, do a little feature spam there. Some of those things are actually very useful. We still have the multi-window feature that I love so much, and you can do things like drag something there, and then say I want to look at my file manager and put that down here, and you can resize these windows as you see fit. Occasionally you can drag and share content between them now. That's new. So far I haven't had a lot of luck with that. I often get an unsupported content message. The processor is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 800. That's a quad-core CPU clocked at 2.3 gigahertz, pretty much the same thing we saw in the LG G2 recently. And you probably heard the brouhaha about Samsung gaming the benchmarks a bit. So they have custom settings where they detect pretty much all of the major benchmark programs, and they increase results by about 10%. And, you know, LG's been doing some of that too, as it turns out. ASUS a little bit, Apple and Motorola no. So we'll just say take the benchmarks with a grain of salt. As I mentioned, we have TouchWiz here, so you have your apps, widgets, and your downloaded applications preloaded depending on your carrier. You'll have your carrier's flavor of bloatware on here. AT&T certainly has plenty loaded on board. And all of the Samsung apps, including their own video player, the new PenUp, which is sort of neat. It's actually a place where people who own Note products can share the images that they've been working on, their art. We'll just do Explore right now, and you can see. Now, some of these are just photographs right now. Rather seductive-looking Asian people. You can see here some things that people have been drawing, some more sophisticated than others. And if you want to share with the community, you can. And I know that's kind of fun. On forums, people often enjoy sharing the artwork they've made with the S Pen. Speaking of the S Pen, when you pull it out, you can see it knows right here, and you can set whether it detects that or not. And we have a pop-up wheel of options. Now, we have the quick memo application right here, which gives you pretty much all the features that you need. You can write, you can erase, you can do all sorts of stuff. So a handy way to take notes. If you want to bring that up again after you've taken the pen out, you hover over and you press the side button. Now the S Pen is pretty much the same size as the S Pen that we've seen on other devices, which is actually a Wacom pen. This is Wacom technology with pressure sensitivity. But this little side pen button is just really hard to feel with your hands. Every time I have to take it out, look at it, find where the little button is. That aside, we also have a scrapbook application right there. And despite the fact that that sounds like that's a product for bored suburban housewives, it's actually pretty neat. You can pull content from all sorts of places and put it together sort of like you can in Evernote. So say, for example, you're researching smartphones and you're taking snippets of reviews and photos and things. You can create your own little scrapbook just of something like that. We have Screen Write, which is the usual take a screenshot and write on it. That can be handy if you're looking at a Google map and you want to write down directions or somebody's phone number. You can search by using the pen to enter in your search terms. And then we have Pen Window, which is got to be one of the goofier features and almost redundant with the split window mode that really works so well. So you can see right here it's telling me that I should draw a rectangle anywhere, which I will do. And what do we get? Something like the LG G2, we get floating widgets over here. So say I want to bring up, calculator would be an obvious easy one that somebody might want to do. Tap on the calculator, there it is. I can resize it. Now, you can do this with a YouTube player as well, having a floating YouTube player, but the aspect ratio is pretty easy to get wonky and have things look kind of a little skewed. And we can tap it out to full screen just like that too. Other Samsung software features are a feature where the front camera keeps an eye on you, and if you're looking at the screen, it won't turn the screen off. I like that feature a lot, to be honest. That's one of my favorite. As far as all the rest of the software features, they're just like the Galaxy S4, and many of them are here from the Note 2, so I won't drag this out as an endless review. You get the idea. Samsung includes all of their sharing stuff. We've got their group play over here. You can install Samsung Link, and if you have one of the new Samsung Ultrabooks that supports that, you can actually share content and share it wirelessly and mirror your screen onto your Samsung laptop. We get Polaris Office on board. That's the full version, so you can view, edit, and create MS Office files. We have S Health for those of you who want to keep track of your health efforts and your diet. Again, Watch On is here. That's for controlling your TV, your home theater gear, all sorts of things like that. Story album, sort of a scrapbooking album. Samsung's own app store, Samsung S Voice there. Meta voice control system that I find I just like using Google Voice control better myself. S Translator does language translation. It actually does a pretty decent job. And of course, S Note. Now, S Note is going to walk us through the first setup where I choose a book cover. And then you can choose from all of these kind of templates. S Note is really just growing up. So we've got meeting notes, we've got checklists, schedules, picture diary, blank sheet of paper, lined sheet of paper, special events, recipes, a whole lot of skeuomorphistic things, as we say, where these just resemble things in your real life that you usually have on pieces of paper. And Samsung has now basically got their own customized version of Flipboard. If you swipe up from the bottom, it warns you about the fact that this is going to use data, so we'll tell it to not do that again. Now, the first time you launch this glorified version of Flipboard, you have to agree to 4 separate user agreements. It's almost scary, isn't it? But in the end, what do you get? You get Flipboard. Popular news sources here, not too customizable. You can't add your own news feeds, but you can use pre-selected news feeds. So it's just basically another way of accessing Flipboard. HTC Blink feed, well, they got to keep up with that, don't they, at Samsung. Performance is very smooth and zippy. The lag that we saw on the S4, not here. Of course, this is a new generation CPU with even more RAM, so it shouldn't. So how about pen features? I know that Samsung says more than half of you use the pen on your Note products. And right now we're in the Samsung Note application, which becomes more and more capable. You can choose to sync this with your Samsung account if you have one with Evernote or nothing at all. You can use handwriting mode. You can use pen-only mode so that your hand can actually rest on the screen and see I'm not writing by accident with my knuckle. And if I write, it's nice and silky smooth. It does a good job of kind of clearing things up a little bit. Still, I have terrible handwriting, and obviously a little left-handed scrawl here isn't helping. And if I want to draw, I can do so with pressure sensitivity. I could do a light, I could do a very heavy line, and there's a little bit of difference there. And by the way, you can use other pens too. If you have other Wacom pens, like for tablet PCs, it's going to work just fine. If you want to do a little serious drawing, you could use this, or you could use the bundled sketchbook, which is nice to have. We've got Sketchbook for Galaxy on board as well. Besides the usual undo, redo, and eraser tool right here, you can see we can insert all sorts of things like a video, an image, a voice memo, something from the clipboard, an illustration, scrapbook, maps, a whole lot of stuff right there. And we have sharing capability as well. You can actually record sketches that you do. So fairly capable of a grown-up note application. As I mentioned, this comes with Sketchbook for Galaxy. Nice drawing tool, good to have it. Very minimalist UI at first, but if you tap over there, you have all of your controls over your pens, and we're just going to go with the pencil right here. We can choose our color, so on. And this is a great way to actually get some artwork done, and we can show you the pressure sensitivity too. So I'm just going to draw some guy in orange, because orange is cool. And you can see when I'm pressing hard, like right here to fill in his eyes, working out just fine. Pressing light. Scary looking guy I'm drawing there, but you get the idea. A lot of light, quick strokes. It keeps up with the pen pretty well. So certainly for you digital artists, this is a great little 5.7-inch sketchbook to have right in your pocket. Call quality, as we expect from Samsung phones, at least the high-end Galaxy phones, is very, very good. One of the better voice phones. Obviously, this is a big phone to hold to your head. Those of you who have been using phablets, well, you're used to that. I have no problem with the earpiece lining up and the microphones. It does have microphones top and bottom for noise canceling. Usual access to call logs, favorites, contacts, your standard stuff right there. Phone comes both with the standard WebKit web browser, which is there, I think so. Samsung and AT&T, for example, the carriers, up to them if they wish to, they can customize that, whereas Chrome is really not customizable. That said, I sideloaded Adobe Flash because that usually works with the WebKit web browser, and it was not recognized by WebKit, so you're going to have to install something like Boat Browser if you want to sideload Adobe Flash. So how about web browsing? We're looking at the WebKit web browser right now, and obviously one of the benefits of a bigger screen is you can actually read text without having to zoom too much. We're looking at our own site, Mobile Tech Review, and we'll check out our review of the aforementioned Samsung ATIVbook 9 Plus. And we're using AT&T's 4G LTE network here. We have the AT&T version of the phone. Very nice, very readable. Again, for Super AMOLED, it's quite nice. Very nice high pixel density, a significant improvement over the Note 2, which was a 720p phone, certainly. I can't see jaggies on that text. It's looking good. And for video playback, and so you can hear the speaker, we'll give it a test. Two-thirds volume.
Ultrabooks currently on the market. This is the Samsung ATIVbook 9.
So there it is. It looks good. It sounds okay. It's not the most impressive speaker. You would think a phablet, something this big, would have a better speaker on it, but it's not too bad. But certainly, again, an immersive experience if you want to watch video. And if you're going to stream Netflix on this, really nice experience. Data speeds have been good on the phone, as we expect once again from Samsung Galaxy products. On AT&T's network, we've been averaging 18 megabit per second down and 14 up, which is pretty much par for the course with a good phone on AT&T's LTE network in a Dallas area. Wi-Fi 802.11ac on here, Bluetooth 4.0, NFC, a GPS with GLONASS, so everything you want on the phone is here. So how about gaming? I know a lot of you like big screen phones because you like to game, and 3D games are just, well, obviously much more awesome on a bigger screen. So here we are in Nova 3. And we're running through the training mission. Perfectly fluid gameplay. Beautiful screen, really. Super AMOLED has come a long way. Nice, immersive experience. Very fluid. Certainly as a gaming machine, given the fast quad-core CPU, the 3 gigs of RAM, the immense display, full HD, it's a great experience for gaming. So how about the cameras? Samsung Galaxy S4 style camera here, 13 megapixel, all the same software stuff, so you can simultaneously shoot with the front and rear camera, for example. All sorts of modes, auto mode, sports, surround shot, beauty face, best photo, best face, drama shot, golf, rich tone HDR. All that's here. What's special about this is it can actually shoot 4K video. If you take a look at all of our settings here, we'll go over to video. Notice the video size. Right now we're at 1920 by 1080. We can bring it all the way up to 4K resolution, 3840 by 2160. That's pretty incredible, isn't it, on a phone? Now granted, most of you don't actually have anything to play back 4K on. Maybe one of the lucky early adopters for 4K TV, or maybe you got the Samsung ATIVbook 9 Plus Ultrabook we just reviewed that has near 4K resolution. But we shot some 4K video anyway, and in fact we did play it on the ATIVbook 9 Plus, and it really did look good. You could see the sharpness, you could see the difference. Now one thing that did go out the window is image stabilization. This has digital image stabilization, but for some reason when we're shooting 4K video, things just look a whole lot more jumpy.
This is a 4K video taken with
audio quality is good. Look at the colors. There's a lot of sharpness. It's nice. How about battery life? Well, as we mentioned, it's always nice to know that you can pop in another battery if you need to right here, but Honestly, 3200 milliamps, despite the fast CPU, it's still pretty power frugal. And the large display, you'd think this would have mediocre battery life, but so far I've been averaging 1.5 to 2 days on a charge with moderate to more than moderate use. Because I've been doing a lot of testing with the phone, playing video, certainly doing social networking, email, web browsing, you name it, taking a lot of pictures. It really holds up well. And that's with LTE 4G on and active and occasional use of Wi-Fi. Now, if you're going to use the GPS, if you're going to play games all the time, that's certainly going to shorten your battery life. But I think for average users, certainly you're going to make it through a day on a charge, no problem. So that's the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. If you like a phablet, boy, you can't do better than this. This is definitely top-of-the-line material. Samsung still does it the best. We have some caveats. You have to like TouchWiz. You have to like all the software features that are glommed on here, the noises, the bing-bongs, the whizzes, most of which you can turn off. But what you do get is a fantastic 1080p display. The S Pen, awesome for you people who like to take notes and draw. Great performance, awesome for gaming. Huge display is so nice for watching videos. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Don't forget to visit our website for the full review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 3, and don't forget to hit that like button.